Greetings and welcome back to room 303, AP English, the Roberts Lectures. We are in the poetry section, and now let's look at Jane Shore's A Letter Sent to Summer. Some of you reporting that this is one of your favorite poems because it speaks so regularly to especially school young people who want to try to get to summer as quickly as possible. 1977 was when this offering was published. Jane Shore, a little bit about her, born in 1947, still alive, great American poet, won the Guggenheim Fellowship for Creative Arts, as well as nominated for the National Book Critics Circle Award for Poetry. Let's enjoy the poem, and especially put it in your notes at 2B, the personification that's clearly a part of this. That is to say, summer is invited the way one would invite an old friend, one might say. The poem reads as follows: A letter sent to summer. Oh, summer, if you would only come with your big baskets of flowers, dropping by like an old friend just passing through the neighborhood. If you came to my door disguised as a thirsty biblical angel, I'd buy all your hairbrushes and magazines. I'd be more hospitable than any ancient king. I'd personally carry your luggage in, your monsoons, your squadrons of bugs, your plums and lovely melons. Let the rose let out its long, long sigh, and desire return to the hapless rabbit. This request is also in my own behalf. Inside my head it is always snowing, even when I sleep. When I wake up and still you've not arrived, I curl back into my blizzard of linens. Not like winter's buckets of whitewash. Please wallpaper my bedroom with leafy vegetables and farms. If you knocked right now, I would not interfere. Start near the window. Start right here. Of course, the repetition and the rhyming will help make this poem almost like a song more than even a letter. Notice the beginning word, oh, which of course will speak directly to the longing of this poem, right? Oh, summer, if you'd only come with your big baskets of flowers in the winter. Obviously, we know a thing or two about this, don't we, living in Moreland, right? When everything is dead outside, we think immediately of 3A of that famous poem or song of the ancient Greeks, the Song of Persephone, and of course, being taken into the underworld. Her mother Demeter was so upset that everything dies. When Persephone begins to return back to her mother in the spring, of course, then everything grows and we have the flowers dropping by like an old friend. It's an interesting kind of simile, like an old friend just passing through the neighborhood. Notice the exclamation points to put an emphasis on this letter, which is really a begging, if one wishes. And at 3A we can think about, for example, those opening lines of Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, the general prologue, when nature pricks them and they long to go on pilgrimages in the spring. We're playing a similar game. Or we can make a reference here, an allusion, a biblical allusion to Hebrews 13:2 about possibly entertaining strangers because they are angels. If you came by my door disguised as a thirsty biblical angel, I'd buy all your hairbrushes and magazines. Notice again, the sacred and the, quasi-profane are joined together brilliantly. I'd be more hospitable than any ancient king. In other words, I'll treat you well if you'll just show up. I'd personally carry your luggage in. Now this is interesting because this idea of luggage is, of course, the baggage, both good and bad, of summer. The monsoons, the heavy rains, squadrons of bugs, the things that we sometimes complain about in the summer. She says, oh, I'd love to have that. As well as, of course, plums and lovely melons. We love it in the summer, don't we, when we can go into the grocery store and there all the fruits and vegetables are, right? Then, of course, we get to grow them as well. Let the rose let out its long, long sigh, and desire, notice it's capitalized, return to the hapless rabbit. And again, that line, if you know your Chaucer and Canterbury Tales, the opening lines of the general prologue, you'll appreciate what is being referenced there. We can, of course, think of 3A of the classic Disney film Bambi, where everything gets twitter-pated and awakened in the spring, early summer. But then there's this other observation at line 15. Something about longing for summer. We think immediately of Percy Bysshe Shelley's Ode to the West Wind, if winter come, can spring be far behind. That I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed, is the line from that poem. And of course, we've referenced that many times and taught it. You can find that at learnstrong.net as well. Notice here, though, this request is also in my own behalf. Inside my head, it's always snowing, even when I sleep. In other words, there may be some depressive state that's a part of winter, right? When I wake up and still you've not arrived, I curl back into my blizzard of linens, curling back. It's a beautiful way to say that, right? Curling back under the blankets. Not like winter's buckets of whitewash. Please wallpaper my bedroom with leafy vegetables and farms. In other words, I'm done with winter. Some of us can appreciate this idea very, very much, right? If you knocked right now, I would not interfere. Start near the window. Start right here. Notice the sight rhyme of now and window. Both of those words end with OW. And notice that interfere in here, of course, are rhyming words. And you can kind of see this at the end, that sing-songy longing. It's a prayer of a kind, isn't it? I wish you would certainly come right now and start right here. That is to say, start with me or start in my heart, right? Bring me your summer. Bring me your freedom of summer. Well, obviously at 2A, the major messages here are the longing for summer. It's an old motif, as we have said. Percy Bysshe Shelley's Ode to the West Wind has to be thought of at 3A. At 2B, the personification of summer is brilliant here at 3A. We've mentioned a number of titles. Thoreau's Walden also comes to mind here, that celebration of the spring and the summer, as we've spoken many times about. Finally, at 3B, what about your longing for summer? Do you find as seniors that you begin to long even more for the summer that will be your final emancipation? And to what degree is our lives as students for so many years been construed around this longing for summer? That is to say, when finally we can sing that that old 1970 song, School's Out, for the summer and all of that Alice Cooper song. And, the longing to somehow escape. The feeling that somehow summer is equal to freedom, and the ways in which when we're going through a long winter, it is Percy Bysshe Shelley's "If winter come, can spring be far behind?" And we sometimes wonder about how long it can be far behind. Well, there you go, Jane Shore's classic little poem. I hope that this will lead you to more of her stuff as well. Thank you.